Hey everybody, it's me, Rumi the Comic Book Poser, and I'm here today to welcome you to enter the Poserverse. It's Tuesday, so you know what that means. It's time to figure out what comics I'm picking up on this week's new comic book day, the 30th of June. So to find out what I think you should read along with me, check it out after this.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Alright, 2 quick announcements before we get into books. Number 1, my Whatnot auction is back this Thursday night at 8:30 Central. I'll be going live on Whatnot selling some books. I should have everything loaded into the queue tomorrow on Wednesday. And if there's anything you're looking for, hit me up in the comments below. Number 2, I am working on scheduling with a couple of folks for finally doing the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. So stay tuned, and we'll finally do the giveaway and hang out with some folks and have a good old live stream that's not an auction that we haven't had in a while over here. Without further ado, let's talk about what I'm reading this week. First up from SourcePoint Press is 20 Fists, number 3. This is the final book of the series. Y'all know that I really enjoy this series, that I backed it on Kickstarter. I think Frankie White is a brilliant creator, and I'm excited to see that, Queer Fight Club, Meat Plus the Warriors, got picked up by SourcePoint Press. The difference between the two, again, is it's in color. You get the stunning finale to this series, and hopefully a lot of you check it out and fall in love with this book, and Frankie's working the same way I have. Next from Vault is the Autumnal number 8. Again, this has been one of my favorite, creepy reads to get into. We still don't know what up is with, the end game of Sybil. We don't know what her fate is, if she will be the sapling. We don't know who will win in the epic throwdown between Cat and Clementine. But this book has been wild. This creative team has found new ways to creep me out and make me afraid of trees. And I this makes it to the top of the pile almost every week to read. Next up from Vault Comics is Barbaric number 1. Don't know a whole heck of a lot about it. Excited to check it out and see if I'm adding another Vault book to my pull list. Next up from Marvel is Beta Ray Bill number 4. I've enjoyed this story. It's, book number 4. We get my dude Pip the Troll with his first appearance from Warlock in here, seeing what is happening, and how will, Beta Ray Bill, will he be successful on his quest? Black Knight, Curse of the Ebony Blade. I'm a little behind on this one. I think I'm still at book 2. So I've got, 2 books to read to play catch up. Black Widow, number 8 from Marvel is up next. I have sung the praises of this. I think Kelly Thompson is a brilliant writer. I think the art team on this is also amazing. I love that we got a Spider-Girl appearance in the last book. And I'm thirsty for more. Alright. Next up from Marvel is Cable number 11. Still behind on my pile of X, so I still don't know what's going on. Next from IDW is Kanto and the City of Giants number 3. I think I'm liking this more than Kanto 2, but this is one of those books that I ask myself, why do I keep pulling it? I don't know why. It's not, like, the art is cool, but for some reason the story just doesn't connect with me. Also from IDW is Chained to the Grave number 4. I feel like I talked about this one last week, and it got pushed a week. Next up from Image is Crossover number 7. The end of the arc was absolutely insane. I love this write-up in the description of why the hell is Chip Zdarsky writing my book. I like that Chip Zdarsky was one of the named creators to go missing early on in the series. That I still think this is a lot of fun. And I think this has been a hell of a build through the first arc that I can't wait to see what happens in number 2. Speaking of Chip Zdarsky, Daredevil number 31 is out. I love this book. I really enjoyed the Elektra Daredevil combination, the prison story, the tie-in with King in Black. So I'm ready for the next progression of the arc to begin. Next up is Department of Truth number 10. I think we got the promise that Bigfoot is the conspiracy theory that they dive to in this one, and you can see that on the cover of this book, so I'm excited to get down with the creepiness of Bigfoot. Next up from Behemoth Comics is Freak Snow number 2. I really loved issue number 1 of this book, right? I think I said it was, if Hunter S. Thompson wrote and illustrated a comic book himself, that is, what's going on in this book. So I want to see what happens now that we have an understanding of what the world looks like after issue number 1. Alright, next up from Mad Cave Studios, Honor and Curse number 12. The second arc is wrapping up. Now I'm still at book number 10, but I've enjoyed this as much as the first arc, and I hope that you all are really enjoying, a good, samurai tale. Next up from Image is Made in Korea number 2. This book to me was really strange in number 1 in terms of looking at like the boutique created AI child, and then looking at the idea that the child that kind of gets focused on in the first one may be a little defective is something that's very interesting. So the premise to this is kind of cool because it wasn't 100% what I expected, but this will be towards the top of the stack. Alright, next up from Vault is Money Shot number 12. If you didn't think that this book could get more absurd and raise the intensity, book 11 said Hold My Beer, where you had the hot new climatologist who they had to teach how to have like pleasurable, non-boring sex. But apparently this one deals with the Triple Explorers taking on people who have created parodies of their film work, so I'm ready for more. Next from IDW is My Little Pony Transformers Magic of Cybertron number 3. I enjoyed the first 2 issues. I'm enjoying this arc as much as the first one. This is a good palate cleanse book, even if y'all want to call me a brony. And I guess I'm kind of looking like one today with my headband and whatnot. Next up from Dark Horse is Parasomnia number 1. This book might be the one I'm the most excited for this week because you have Cullen Bunn, who is one of my favorite writers, who is just putting on an absolute masterclass in the horror genre right now, and Andrea Moody, whose art I started to fall in love with from Vlad Dracul. Andrea absolutely killed it in Bunny Mask, so I want to see what happens when one of my favorite writers and one of my favorite artists pop up in dealing with a fantasy tale between a dream world and reality. Next up from Fantagraphics is Red Room number 2. My copy of number 1 just came in the mail. A lot of people said that this was real cringy and real effed up. Sounds like my cup of tea, so I'm ready to check this out as well. Next from AWA is Redemption number 5. I've enjoyed the first 3 issues of this series. Issue number 4 is, I think, like 2 books away on my to get caught up pile. But I've really enjoyed what's been going on here. That, again, it's another good home run of a series from AWA. Next is Teen Titans Academy, the 2021 yearbook. I don't think I've read any of these issues yet, that I've just been piling them up for a big binge. So if you've been reading Teen Titans and you're like, don't read it, let me know. Next up from Image is That Texas Blood. Like I said, I think I might be one of the few people who was not super excited by the way that the first arc ended. But I am ready to hop in to see what the creative team has in the second story arc. I missed my Comic Burrito boys, who had, I think they had Chris Condon on this past Saturday night. I'll see if I can tag a link up here to see what they talked about. But you know that you see images of a casserole dish and people are talking to Condon and or Phillips. But I'm interested to see what happens here. Next up is They Fell from the Sky, number 5. This is the next to last book from the series, I think. I can't remember if this is 5 or 6 issue. But Lizelle and Javier or Xavier have absolutely crushed this book. That I like the buddy comedy. I like the way that they are morphing elements of dealing with science fiction and aliens, dealing with, you know, a Hispanic family in a mainly white community, and how the alien arrival has kind of helped, but also potentially put some more harmful light on the family. So I want to see what happens next. Next up from Image, Two Moons, number 5. This has been one of the most insane Civil War horror stories, let alone one of the most insane stories that I've enjoyed reading. And I just found out that I'm teaching U.S. history this upcoming school year for the first time in like a decade. So we'll see if I can find a way to make some juniors read some Two Moons. Next up, we got the United States of Captain America, number 1. I hung along on the Coates arc for a while, and then just constantly kept putting Captain America to the bottom of the stack, that it just wasn't gelling with me. So, you know, we'll see if I'm getting back on the Cappy train after this book. Next, what I think is one of the most beautiful books in comics is We Only Find Them When They're Dead. Number 7 comes out. We had that huge time jump in book number 6. We started to figure out more of the backstory of the new crew, and Simone DeMeo just absolutely continues to crush it in the art department. That I love this book, that I just want to stare at it. And again, this is the only book that I've pondered buying digitally, because I think the art might pop a lot bit more. Next up from Black Mask, we've got White, number 1. I feel like this is the 4th time I've talked about this book, and it keeps getting pushed back, so hopefully it comes out, because I'm excited by the premise. X Factor 10, still behind. You Promised Me Darkness, number 3, still behind, that I haven't read issue number 2 yet. But all in all, 30 books coming out this week. It looks like I'm excited to read almost everything. Are there any books on the list that I should stay away from if you've gotten to read something early that I haven't? Anything that is coming out this week that is not on the list that I should pick up, let me know in the chat over here. Let me know in the comments down below. And I just want to shout out my boy Travis Gibb. Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies was waiting for me when I got back from vacation, and I have multiple copies of the whole series now. The art is beautiful. There's nobody who writes crime stories, I think, as well as Travis does, and I'm excited for more and more. So there you go. Much love, Travis. You'll see a nice little quick unboxing video pop up sometime soon, but they're here. Book 4 is mind-blowing. I'm going to write about it for the blog. And that's all I got. So as always, y'all, thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.